Thank you for participating in this short interview. This is not an evaluation. We are hoping to learn from you and your behavior to capture information about how you interact with some things related to transportation. Don't worry about being right or wrong. I will go through a list of questions related to how you travel to better understand solutions to make your life easier. I want to encourage you to think out loud after I present a question. Don't be afraid to share what's on your mind. I'm going to be recording your responses so I'm able to review them afterwards. I will not show the videos outside the classroom environment that this is being submitted for. Do you have any questions before we begin?
No.
Okay. The first question is, how often do you use public transportation?
Every weekday.
Every weekday. Okay, and how many times a day is that? So,
Train twice, subway twice, subway 4.
train twice. So this is kind of going off your answer, but which specific methods of public transportation do you use?
The train and subway.
So could you elaborate on that?
Like why I take it
Or just what specific trains?
yeah, so I take NJ Transit,
NJ Transit, okay.
and for the subway I take the 2-3 in New York.
What is your motivation for using public transportation?
It gets me to work without sitting in traffic. I hate traffic.
Cool. Now, I'd like you to tell me about a time that you were frustrated with using public transportation. And if you could elaborate on some of the things that made this experience so frustrating.
NJ Transit breaks down a lot. One time there was a train derailment in Penn Station and all the trains to New Jersey were delayed for like 3 hours. Then they rerouted me to Newark by taking the PATH train. But when I got off in New Jersey, then there were just more crowds at the other train station. So it was just like, there was really no way home. They were just moving us around. And there was no information being posted anywhere.
Great, or not great, but thanks for sharing. I'm just jotting down a couple of notes based on what you're saying. Okay, now on the other end of the spectrum, could you tell me about a time that you had a great experience using public transportation and what made this experience different than your bad experience?
A great experience. I don't know if anything's like great. It's just when it works, it's nice. But I guess sometimes, like if you're on the train and you see all the traffic, like the cars, and then you're like, oh, I'm not sitting in that, then it's like great. Because I'd rather be sitting on a train than sitting in my car having to drive.
Okay, so I'm gathering that the train is preferred to driving even when things are bad happening with the train.
Yeah, like I'd rather be sitting down on the train, not having to focus on anything, than sitting in traffic and trying to drive and dealing with it. When it snows, public transportation, that's nice too.
Oh, okay, that's a good point. The weather. So weather is an important factor for.
Yeah.
Now shifting gears to other forms of transportation. So how often do you use forms of transportation such as ride sharing, biking, walking, driving, or anything else?
I drive every day, and I probably use rideshare once a week.
And how far do you drive every day?
To the train, it's about 10 miles.
And what is the reason for driving in this case?
Just to get to the train, so it's part of my commute.
And in terms of ride sharing once a week, what ride share companies do you use?
I use Lyft.
What is your reason for, number one, using a ride share and choosing Lyft?
I use rideshare because I live in suburbia, so there aren't taxis or anything. So if I want to go somewhere and don't want to drive, it's one of my only options. I use Lyft, one, because their app is purple, and two, it makes it easy to find on the phone, and two, because I think back when it started, they used the tip and Uber wouldn't, so the quality of drivers was better. But I know that's not the case anymore.
So do you think now that there's still a higher quality of drivers on Lyft?
I've noticed that most of the time the drivers are on both apps at the same time, so I don't think it matters.
Okay, great. And going back to the reasons you use ride sharing, you said there aren't taxis available,
Yeah.
so if you want to go somewhere, ride shares are the only option.
Yeah, like if I don't want to drive myself, that's really my only option.
And what might the circumstances be where you don't want to drive yourself?
If I'm going somewhere where I'd be drinking alcohol. I guess if I'm going somewhere and meeting up with someone and they would drive, I don't want to like bring my car somewhere else.
Great. Just a couple more questions here. Tell me about a time you had a bad experience with one of those other forms of transportation aside from public transportation that we once talked about.
So with rideshare, again, because I live in like a suburban area, like there's less drivers. So I think sometimes the drivers are kind of like weird or like bad drivers. Like I was in one where they were driving like 20 miles over the speed limit. And then when driving my car, traffic is the big issue. Like if I leave work early and I hit rush hour, it's just like a lot of cars on one-lane roads, and it takes a while to get home.
So sometimes rideshare drivers are weird, bad drivers driving over the speed limit.
Or under.
Over or under,
Yeah.
okay.
Like super under.
And is there any way you could think of the rideshare experience to be better in that case? Or what is your opinion on it?
I guess with rideshare, I don't know how you would make it better for the things I listed, but maybe if they had better, qualifying drivers. I don't know exactly how the process is. I don't know how much vetting goes into it. Maybe a better vetting process for better drivers, or offering incentives to get better drivers out of like the city areas and into the suburbs.
That's a good point. Okay. And last question. If you had to just pick one form of transportation to use, what would it be? And what is inhibiting you from doing that now?
I guess if I only had to use one form, it would be something similar to the subway, so public transportation, that arrives frequently enough that you can use it without having to constantly check a schedule. And I can't use that now because I commute.
Okay.
Like ease of access, and like you don't have to really worry about it.
Great. And just in closing, I just want to thank you for being patient and answering my questions. Before we wrap up, are there any questions that you would like to ask me based on the discussion we had?
No.
Okay. So thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thanks.